Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Free-to-Play cast brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. This is episode 260, and I'm your host, Mike Byrne, aka Magicman. And we've got the rapid-fire round making a comeback because last week's just been full of news, but like little shitty news. Like not big shitty news, just little... little shitty news. And so we're going to string it all together in the rapid fire round, then we're going to tie it off with some May the 4th be with you, because we're recording on the... I felt like I had a lisp there, Q. May the 4th be with you. It doesn't roll.
Nerd!
It doesn't roll. But we're recording on May the 3rd, so you're watching it on the 4th or later, so May the 4th be with you. And then, of course, we'll talk Daybreak, but just for a few minutes, because I don't really want to get into that whole mess. Joining me, and my frazzled hair. What is going on with my hair today? I look like I've had a really rough day, and I mean, it has, but not rough enough to be doing the Clark Kent thing here. Q, how are you?
I'm good, and don't feel bad about the lisp. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but I have a really hard time pronouncing T's.
I've never noticed. I've worked with you for, what, 6 years now, and I've never noticed that.
Yeah, it doesn't really come out like a hard T. It's like this weird soft thing that blend. Yeah, it's a thing.
All right. Also on the line, and what do you mispronounce, Troy?
Everything, because I'm a redneck. People think that's everything. So let me just say, hashtag woke up like this 20 minutes ago, legit. And deep thought, while I was waking up and caffeinating, somewhere in an alternate universe, Firefall hung on for a few years, and there is now Firefall Royale being played. God, I'd like to play that.
You know what? You seem entirely too happy, so I'm just going to throw this out there. May 11th is a Bless Online press event. I'm expecting to see pricing and Founders Pack news as far as pricing for those go, so... yeah, it's still coming, Troy. Deal with it. Let's go on and get started with the news. All right, rapid fire round. And for those of you unfamiliar with the rapid fire round, it's a bunch of smaller news stories that we throw around very rapidly. Funny how it's named that way. And just get everybody's impressions on them. So today we're going to start with one of Q's favorite companies, Hi-Rez Paladins. Believe it or not, like, honestly, when she linked this to me, I was kind of like, didn't that hasn't yet? Paladins is officially launching May 8th, and I always fall into this trap when it comes to high-res titles of wondering, wait, didn't that launch already? I mean, I feel like the beta came out 2 years ago, but that's what they do, Q, right? That's their thing.
That is what they do, and actually I wasn't the one who linked it to you. It was Jason, along with the question, is Smite still in beta too?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And
did Smite ever
Jason,
come out of beta?
Smite's been out of beta for a good long while now.
I don't know. There's some folks who might disagree with that.
They officially launched it a while back. It might still have some beta-y stuff going on because whatever, but... It officially launched a good while back. That's the reason why it has actual tournaments, and there was a launch tournament. So
here's the thing that I think, though, like, and maybe I'm wrong. I mean, you guys correct me if I don't get really hyped for high-res launches, and I mean, maybe who cares, right? Because launch hype is a lot of bullshit most times anyway. But I just saw the news and I was just like, oh, okay. And not because it's a bad game or I don't enjoy Paladins or anything like that, or I don't like high-res. Quite the contrary. I've had nothing but positive experiences working with everybody over at high-res when it comes to what we do. But it's just the things are in open beta for so long that, like, launch means nothing. And it doesn't matter what events you cram into it. They just kind of fall flat for me, Q.
Launch for high-res is really supposed to mean, I think, like two things. One, like they stated in their launch announcement, it means that the base of the game, the actual structure of the game is finally settled. They're not going to do any more to the actual structure of the game. Yeah, right. They'll still continue to make changes because, of course, you continue to make changes to online games as long as the game exists. But as far as the base structure, they've got what they want and they're, you know, happy with it. The other thing is, yeah, they've been doing tournaments, but they kind of, like, at least with Smite, right? They did some tournament-y stuff before. And then, then they really rolled into, all right, it's a real thing. So here's all the big tournament stuff. So it's their esports they start pushing a little more heavily too. And I think that's the bulk of it.
Yeah, so I guess it's like you could take solace in nothing big like a Cards Unbound is going to be happening anymore. No total revamps of core systems, Troy.
That's exactly my excitement right there, and probably for the most of the player base. And yeah, there's a big uproar right now. Oh, it's not ready. It's not ready. It's still got bugs and issues and stuff like that. And yeah, it does. But at the end of the day, what it means going forward is no more big, horrendous, total 180s from the direction they've been going. No more Cards Unbound style updates. What we've got is at least the core of what we're going to keep as far as monetization and the way the game plays and the way the customization works. Like Q said, there's going to be small changes along the way, but no drastic overhauling that completely changes your enjoyment of the game. If you like the game how it is right now, it's basically going to stay the same going forward. And that's good news because them mofos got crazy with some updates in beta.
As far as in-game events, if you took part in the beta, then at some point you have 200 free crystals waiting for you when you log in. So a little bit of
one free voice pack. Yay.
A little bit of currency for you, a little bit of free currency for you. And all paladins are unlocked until May 7th. So if there's somebody you never, earned or bought and wanted to check out, you can definitely check them out. And then the rest of the months, they're going to have contests and giveaways and the typical in-game type stuff, Q. Q and I had a good laugh at this, Troy, so I'll bring it up here. We love when companies like, and Path of Exile does this the most, by the way. This pack is valued at $3,500, but we're going to sell it to you for the low, low cost of $199.99, right? And it's nothing but digital goods. Well, Hi-Rez kind of did that. They said, hey, we're giving everybody 200 free crystals. It's a massive giveaway. And just like you said, yeah, that's a voice pack. Yay, what's so massive about that? They pointed out, hey, since 25 million players took part in beta, that's like $100 million worth of crystals. To which Q and I were like, no, it's technically $0 worth of crystals. It's not like you list crystals on your taxes asset sheet at the end of the year when you file for, well, we have $250 million worth of crystals still, IRS. But
right off.
Totally funny. So if you want to check out Paladins, it's a good week to do it, and all month you'll have different events in game to look forward to. Sticking with rapid fire, Troy, two of your favorite games going the way of the dodo. Perfect World Entertainment made the quote very difficult decision to close down Jade Dynasty and Swordsman, and I think, while these games certainly had their fans, and when we did Swordsman giveaways, they did absurdly well. Those giveaways were pretty popular, but there's probably a good portion of the audience, Troy, that's going, what's closing down?
Yeah, I mean, I've passed the point where I make fun of games that don't do well and ones that we haven't heard of. Because
that's not fair. These two have done well for a very long time. It's just time to move on.
Yeah, I mean, it's painful. If you enjoyed these games, man, I'm sorry. We've all felt that pain. So I'm not going to mock the fact, like Mike did, that nobody's ever heard of your games.
I like how you turned that around. You said something, and I was like, "Oh, that was mean, Troy. That was mean." And you were like, "I wasn't the one being mean, guys. It's Mike that's mean." I like how you turned that around. Did either of you, Q? Did you ever check either of these out? I think maybe once I checked out Swordsman, maybe, and I think it was only because I was surprised at how well a giveaway did for a game that, in my mind, was an older game and not something I was particularly interested in.
I think I might have Jade Dynasty like way back in the day when I was doing some reviewy type stuff for this website that no longer exists, and I'm not talking about Game Breaker, by the way. Before that, because I was dealing with a lot of just random free to play games. This was back when oh crap, I can't even. It was a game company that started with an A, was doing a whole bunch of random free-to-play stuff too. Like there was a online Dance Dance Revolution thing that you played with your keyboard.
Oh,
that company. The company's dead now.
Yeah, I
But
don't
it
know
was
the
around
company.
that
I do
time.
seem to remember that.
That does sound familiar.
Yeah, I think it was Dance with an exclamation point, I think is what it was called.
Huh.
But it was around that time I think I might have tried Jade Dynasty.
Troy, any experience with either?
No, I got to be honest here. No, none.
Wow.
Did that come
I'm
from the
sorry.
games, or because I kind of know you have a little bit of an aversion towards Perfect World Entertainment. So was it the games that kind of turned you off, or just the hey, that's PWE, I really don't mess with their stuff?
In general, it's Perfect World.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
If you want to check them out, you can check them out until June 5th. That's when the servers are going to officially close. And if you bought premium currency in-game between February 1st and May 1st, you'll get a refund in the way of ARC credits that you can, of course, use in other Perfect World Entertainment games. You ain't getting cash, brother and sister, so forget it. Next up... This was one that, Troy, I don't know about you, but at Q, I was really excited for this game as far as the mount stuff goes, and you like the collection aspects of it. And we've all said the same thing at the time. It looks generic as far as story and questing and all that stuff goes, but we do like having to go and catch and tame your own mounts and collecting the, that kind of Pokemon catch them all type thing with Riders of Icarus. But then it launched and it all but disappeared off of the news radar. It was one of those games. And you know who does this a lot? My.com does this a lot too. We'll get press releases every day about a particular title, and then it launches, and we don't get shit from them anymore. It's just like their PR's like, hey, it launched, we're done. And Riders of Icarus kind of went that way, but it wasn't just PR related, Troy. They kind of just disappeared as far as updates went, too, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really quiet, but at the end of the day, like you said, there was nothing particularly bad that I remember about Riders of Icarus. But the problem is, other than collecting the mounts and stuff, I don't remember a lot about Riders of Icarus.
And that's fair.
It was every MMO out there.
Yeah, and that's fair. And the one things that I did not like about it is how limited you were on being able to catch these mounts. As far as... Because the mounts were used not only as mounts, but then they were used as converting them into the gems that you used to upgrade and slot your equipment and stuff. So you'd have to catch the same mount a couple of times, level it up, convert it, slot it, go catch it again, level it up so that you can use it as a mount. All of which I was fine with, Q. But if you remember, Q, when you and I played it, the inventory space for your mounts was like this big. And you had to spend the cash shop currency in increments getting higher and higher to open up one single slot to the point that they just got ridiculously expensive. And I thought that kind of stabbed the whole draw to the game right in the back for me.
Yeah, it was kind of a pain in the ass. And you have to remember, too, that it wasn't just that you were also collecting the same animal to turn into a pet. Mm-hmm. So there was that, too.
Yeah, that's right.
It was the mount, the pet, then the slot items. Like, there was a lot of collecting the same critter over and over again going on just to do stuff. But it's actually kind of funny when I wrote this article, when you gave it to me, and I'm like, and then, it's saying, oh, it's been almost a year since we've done anything. And I'm sitting there going, wait, I've written stuff. And then I went, oh, wait, no, that was Revelation Online.
Just further proving Troy's point. But the devs did come out, Q, and say, hey, sorry, we're back now. Sorry for being AFK. I'm back. And detailed a lot of stuff that they have planned for the rest of 2018. It's like we didn't get anything, and now all of a sudden they've got a lot of ideas of things they're going to be implementing this year. Yeah,
it was actually enough for me to write like a couple hundred words on it. But and it's funny too, because they're not the dev team. It's not the dev team that came out and told everybody this. It's the Icarus planning team. I don't understand the entire difference. But most of what they talked about, the big deal right now is the McBain merchants, which is that they're adding them into the game and how you can use them and everything else. And then they're going to improve the tempering system and, and add a new mode and just,
a new region, later this year?
Yeah, yeah. Of course, nothing is specific on when these things are going to happen, other than the McBain merchants. Apparently, those are already in.
You know, to me, Icarus Planning Team sounds like a subreddit of players who just get together and talk about, this would be cool if they did this.
Yeah, I was like, when Q said it just now, I was like, it sounds like you're like, here's Senator so-and-so on the House Judiciary Committee. Something like that. You're like, all right, yeah, enjoy the title. We'll see, though. Hey, if you're a fan of Riders of Icarus, that's got to be positive news, Troy, that it seemed silent, and now, hey, you're going to get some stuff. We're sorry. We spilled a drink and had to clean it up and change a diaper. We were AFK for a while, but we're back.
I personally know folks who still play that. So, yeah. I mean, there are folks who still enjoy the game. So maybe something comes along to sort of reignite the interest in that. We'll see.
I know what Troy's most excited about as far as the rapid fire round goes.
Yeah,
and it's the next one. Defiance 2050's Founders Packs are now available. Troy, which one are you buying here? We've got, what, 3 different ones, I think? Although 2 of them are kind of variations of the same thing. You know, they're class packs. So they're $20. One's class, one's demolitionist. And then there's the $50 ultimate one.
Yeah, which is just the other 2 packs plus a few other items.
Right, plus like in-game currency, $50 worth of bits.
And
there it is again, $50 worth of bits. No, on the IRS sheet, it's a 0. It's a 0.
Oh, no, man, it's totally. That's $500 worth that they wanted to just add a 0 in there. Who cares?
Well, this did open up the question that I guess if I said it in the first look, I wasn't clear, or maybe I just skipped it in my editing and it ended up getting chopped out. A lot of people started questioning, whoa. Do you have to buy classes in this game? And the answer is you can. But you can also open up the classes through gameplay, very Skyforge-esque, right? In that you play one class, level it up, and go through your tree and open up other classes. But these packs give you the ability to just grab them off the bat. Any interest at all, for any of these, Troy, being a semi-dabbler in Defiance?
The packs, no, not at this point. I don't know. I mean, I've played your betas and your revamp, and I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. I'm just disappointed. I don't know what I was expecting. Like,
that's worse, man. We all know when our parents did that. That was worse. Just be mad, Troy. Just be mad.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. It's just
terrible.
I expected more, but maybe my expectations for you were just too high. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem.
When I was a kid and my dad would use that on me, I swear to God, like I would just be like, please just go ahead and give me the spanking.
Yeah, would you please whip my ass, please?
Can we just do that and you not say that to me anymore?
Now, here's the thing. You know, I will be checking this out. I've already said we've talked at length about that. I just don't know, is it going to be a console thing for me to just relax and chill, or am I going to get back on it on PC? I'm kind of leaning more towards console and just use it as a casual chill thing like I'm doing with Neverwinter right now on the PS4. Here's the thing, Q. I had bought various things from the cash shop over the course of the years for Defiance. Not a lot of money, but I did buy the $50 pack to get all of the DLCs rather than purchase them individually and stuff like that. So like I feel like I've already invested a good amount into this. That I kind of turned off on the idea of buying any of these founder packs, as much as I might like to go ahead and grab. Who are we fucking kidding? You know I'm gonna grab the ultimate bundle. Like, I'm torn right now, but I'm gonna end up grabbing it, right, Troy? I mean, you know me and this shit.
You do love you some Founders packs.
I do love me some Founders packs.
You kind of do. I mean...
But hey, for the money I spent in the original, at least I get Valor credit for whatever that system's going to do in this new game.
And like 2 of those things you bought will transfer over.
Well, the titles, yeah, that's about it. The titles. I don't know. I kind of thought that... I was kind of disappointed with the Founders Packs, actually. I mean, I think they put too much emphasis on... I think it would just further advertise to players how much they really want you to buy the classes rather than play through the game and unlock the classes. I kind of viewed them almost as a little bit of a turn-off cue if you were somebody that was just mildly watching this to see how it played out. And it was like, wow, they're pretty aggressive about trying to sell you those classes right off the bat. I don't know, it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Maybe I'm just being overly sensitive on it because I have spent money on this and I feel like Secret World again. I'm being forced to do it again. What did you think, Hugh? I just didn't think the packs were all that impressive.
I mean, yeah, with the whole just buying the classes thing, I always, with almost every game, when they're like, hey, you can buy the classes, I'm like, yeah, no,
I'm out.
That's cool. And especially in a game where you can unlock the classes anyway. Like, I know there's some where you can't, you just straight up have to buy the classes, but with this, it's like, if I can unlock them anyway, what is the value in this to me at all?
Well, I'll tell you
Other than,
the
I guess,
value.
maybe the vehicles and
I'll tell you
and
the
money.
value. It's going to take 14 years of your life to unlock all of the classes. And I don't know that.
So
The grind
the class
may not be
you
all that
want.
bad. I have no idea. I'm just being facetious. But that was the big thing with Skyforge, right, Troy?
I was going to say, that's what this
That was
reminds me of,
exactly the
Skyforge.
thing
Oh my
with
God,
Skyforge
I
was-
quit that game because
Yeah.
I couldn't get another class unlocked.
I could just play and unlock them, but God, it takes forever to do so.
Yeah, good luck.
Moving on, Dauntless has this actually already happened. This was today. Already went into effect. So there was a Dauntless wipe. I know that didn't make some people happy, but it had to happen as they move on to their next phase for open beta. And the huge update had a bunch of stuff added. So players were able to earn rep with one of the 3 characters in the game, Seeking the Path of the Slayer, Weapon Master, or Alchemist. You got new weekly quests, daily quests. They gave you special cells, weapons, consumables. You're going to have more choices in hunts. I mean, they added a ton of stuff. New armor set bonuses, new gear keywords, overhauled cell system. So yeah, there kind of made sense that there needed to be a wipe on this one. And generally going from closed to open, in most cases, you have a wipe of some type. I got to admit, Dauntless, after Monster Hunter World launched, Dauntless totally left my radar. I don't know about you guys, Troy. Are you still dabbling in this one at all?
I'm not currently. I don't have access at the moment, but I'm going to end up having to probably buy a Founders Pack because I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait till launch. I have hardcore Monster Hunter friends who are absolutely having a blast in Dauntless right now.
Oh,
and
no
reminding
doubt.
me
No
every freaking day how much fun they're having playing the game. So
now that it's an
You
open
sound really
beta,
angry about that.
Yeah, he does. So now that it's an open beta, we can expect Troy's thoughts on this in a couple of weeks.
yeah, I have to play this. I'm not going to have a choice, even if I didn't want to, which I kind of do want to because what little I got into it before in the alpha, I enjoyed.
Oh yeah,
we talked about it. You know, there were things that we would like to see
both
change
enjoyed
going forward, but it was fun to play. So yeah, I have to play. Even if I didn't want to, I'm gonna have to play this because my peeps will not shut up about it and leave me alone until I do.
Q, any excitement for you behind the Dauntless open beta?
No, this is one of those where I consider it every so often, but like I'm not really hyped about it. It's more or less, oh, it looks kind of cool. Maybe at some point.
Well, if you want to go play it, gang, it is in open beta. I believe that was today, right? Wasn't it? I'm not. Yeah, May 2nd.
Yeah, yesterday.
May 2nd. So you're set. Jump in. And last but not least, we got news today that BattleRite, the MOBA isometric brawler game, added a new mode.
What?
If you had to guess what mode it was, pretty sure.
My God.
What's funny is I didn't. I did not guess that this was going to be the mode. We got, usually we get some news ahead of time saying, here's some news, but you can't talk about it till X date or whatever. It's under embargo. They just cued us in that there was going to be news. They didn't tell us what it was. They didn't send us a press release ahead of time like a lot of companies do so we can have news stories ready for you. So we just said, yeah, sure. Make sure you send it to us. We'll cover it. And I was like, I have no idea what's going on with BattleRite. But they labeled it as we have big news coming. Okay. Big news, BattleRite. What the hell could that be? And then today, open up the old inbox to a Battle Royale mode.
It's 2018. Big news can only mean one thing, ladies and gentlemen.
The thing was, I never would have associated a Battle Royale type mode with a game like BattleRite. I just wouldn't have gone there.
That's why we have to check it out. Because who'd have thunk it? Like, everybody's got a battle royal, but a MOBA with a battle royal, top-down battle royal. I mean, it may be an absolute dumpster fire. Who knows? But I've got to see this with my own two eyeballs.
Q, they are doing, to be fair, they are kind of putting their own little spin on it, right? I mean, it's not totally just generic battle royale.
No, I mean, for one thing, it's smaller than the battle royales that, you know, everybody else has, like the 100-person. This is just, it's like 20 people in a 10-minute match. And they want to combine, as they put it, the excitement of a Diablo-esque exploration experience combined with the character variation of a MOBA and the thrill of a survival game. I don't know what that means.
They're just words.
Buzzword, buzzword.
We'll figure it out later. Yeah, we'll figure it out when we get there.
Yeah, I'm not gonna knock this one because I haven't tried it. I didn't have a chance to try it today, and I think there are some interesting things you can potentially do with Battle Royale, which maybe that might lead to a question of the week. I don't know. Just saying. I think there are some interesting things you could do with it, and we'll have to see if Battle Rights is one of those interesting things. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Speaking of things that, well, where are they going to be a few months from now? May the 4th be with you. I do want to talk a little bit about Star Wars because, of course, Q, they are going to be celebrating May the 4th like they do every year. There's a new mini, droid pet, I think it is. Little R2 looking type unit.
M4 Y7. I get the M4, obviously. The Y7 I'm a little confused on. It's just some little red and white little pet dude.
Yeah, what's with the 7? Like, even if you read it M4Y, that would spell May.
Is it maybe the 7th year of SWTOR? Has it been around that long?
SWTOR really 7 years old? That one, we're gonna pause the show and look at. Holy shit! It came out in 2011.
Did it really? Holy
7
crap!
Years old. So that's it.
December 20th, 2011.
Wow.
May 4th, year 7. So there you go.
There's also
we're so old.
I know.
There's also a speeder, the TF4 Rampage. That's only available to premium players, by the way. You'll find that.
I think that kind of sucks.
Yeah,
actually.
that does kind of suck.
It could be worse. That could be in a lockbox.
That's true too. Although that's a pretty shitty environment that we live in, where it's like, you know what? It's not that bad that you only get it for paying a subscription because it could be in a lockbox.
When I was reading that article, I was surprised it wasn't in a lockbox. Let's be real. I was a little surprised it wasn't in a lockbox. I was like, oh, here's the part where they talk about, oh, this great speeder, blah, 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 available in the anniversary lockbox. I was surprised not to read that at the end of the article.
That's true. I read enough stuff where the event is. You could go buy this. Attack on Titan event.
Yeah, Terra. Yep. Also, already started today. You have your double XP, double Command XP, double Starfighter requisitions, and that'll be running up till May 11th. So, obviously May the 4th. I wanted to bring that up because this was funny that it was airing on May the 4th. But can I ask a question that is totally independent of the May the 4th stuff? Big Star Wars fan, obviously. Star Wars nut. I can't imagine a world where there isn't a Star Wars MMO of some type, whether, because we had Galaxies, then we had Old Republic, and am I the only one that's really, really concerned for BioWare as a company right now? Totally independent of Star Wars, the Old Republic, and itself, and how well or not well you may perceive it to be doing. I am really, really concerned with BioWare. I think there's a little too much riding on Anthem to the point that the company has mortgaged its future, at least as far as its EA overlords are willing to go, right? Has mortgaged that EA leverage to the point that if Anthem doesn't just blow shit away, I'm a little worried that BioWare might be in some trouble there.
See, over the years... yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm just asking. Is that just me?
No, over the years of doing this and being around this and on a fan side of it and a press side of it, I've become a huge fan of where there's smoke, there's at least a little tiny fire. there's a lot of smoke when it comes to BioWare could be in trouble. BioWare's future rests on the returns of Anthem. So yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. There's at least got to be some validity to that. Whether or not they're going to completely shutter BioWare, I mean, it's hard to say that at this point. But I mean, I think it seems pretty obvious. There's something going on with if Anthem just flat out flops, there's going to be some major changes to, I mean, whatever the shadow of what we know of BioWare is now compared to what we used to know BioWare as. Right. I mean, the shadow of BioWare, I guess.
And we get
the remains to be left in the rubble.
We get the stories, right? The rest of the world gets to, you know, this person's leaving, and this unnamed source is talking about development and it being this and this and Q. And maybe there's truth to that stuff. Maybe there isn't. Game development is usually a pretty tumultuous time to begin with. But I just feel like there's way more on the line here for BioWare as a company with Anthem than the typical, all right, we're going to take a shot and do a big release and hope it pays off. And then you add in Disney and EA maybe not being all that thrilled with each other over Star Wars Battlefront 2. And the whole thing just seems really shaky for me, and it makes me nervous because I can't picture a world in which a Star Wars MMO doesn't exist, Q. It's too big of an IP.
I mean, so... One, being completely upfront about this, I'm not the person who really follows what's going on with BioWare. I'm not a big fan of the games. So, I mean, I respect the games that you know, that everybody loved them for, and there were people like, they were obviously made for people that weren't me, basically. But anytime a really healthy, very popular company becomes part of the EA matrix, I already just write them off as dead at some point.
They're dead. They just don't know it yet.
They're dead. They're on life support the minute EA becomes involved. I mean, because it's always the really healthy companies. You got a really good thing going, EA is suddenly there, and it just like it sucks the bone marrow out of the company, and it leaves it as a dry husk and walks away.
We are EA Nosferatu. All right, so yeah, let us know. I just wanted to bring it up because I'm concerned, and I like BioWare a lot. I may disagree with a lot of things that they did cash up wise, and that's fine. We can have those chats all day. I don't want to see people out of a job that are creative and can do some things when it just feels like that line is being stretched a little thin on Anthem. And while I'm personally looking forward to Anthem, I refuse to get hyped up for it simply because of how devastating Destiny 2 ended up being. Very briefly here, we talked at length last week, Troy, so maybe if you got an opinion real quick, go ahead and give it on the whole Daybreak ownership situation. We talked in depth about it last week, and I don't want to rehash it this week. There's still a lot of back and forth with Daybreak anonymous sources saying we've never been owned by Columbus Nova. We've always been owned by Jason Epstein. By the way, Columbus Nova isn't owned by Renova Group, although there's SEC filings and news articles for the last 15 years say that they are owned by Renova, etc., etc., etc. I gotta tell you, Troy, a brief story here. Doing our job, I've been working sources as well. Now, whether they're the same as other sites or not, I couldn't tell you. I don't know their sources. They don't know mine. Is there probably some overlap? I would assume at some point in those anonymous sources there is some overlap, just because I hear similar things on similar questions. Some of our sources I've known for a very long time, since they were SOE and through their PR, and then became Daybreak and through their PR firms and their own internal stuff. Some of them I've just met, but they've been very candid with me to the point that I don't have any reason to doubt what they're telling me. So I don't think my sources, at least I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, are directly lying to me. Which leads me in only one direction, and Jason wrote an article about this. I wrote up a huge article last week with the help of Daybreak sources and other people I talked to on exactly what is going on as far as ownership, what Daybreak claims, what problems are with that story, why it creates a misperception, because there's definitely a lie, right? Is the lie now or was the lie 3 years ago? Doesn't matter, there's a lie in there somewhere. How can Daybreak try and win back that trust? Was Daybreak itself lied to by the higher ups, and maybe they're spouting that's what they know to be true? It's what they were also told. I wrote up this huge long piece. I had all this research, all these links and everything, and I didn't publish it. I didn't publish it. And it wasn't because I doubted my sources. I trusted what they were telling me was what they believed to be the truth, and maybe that's giving them too much of the benefit of the doubt, but I want to at least extend them that courtesy. I brought up to my sources, Troy, are you being told the truth? Because they're, like you just said earlier, where there's a little bit of smoke, there's usually a little bit of fire. And I could not turn a corner on these stories and not question the thing still. It wasn't, all right, I can see how X was a misunderstanding. Unfortunate. You probably should have been a little more clear with that. I just kept finding, and Q it's in our chat for hours, just kept finding something that was obviously questionable. That, why? What did you do that for? Why are you doing that now? To the point that I literally told my sources, here's a question I need answered. And I need it answered on the record. I need somebody to put their name to this one question. And if they can do that, I'm going to push this story that I have, that I worked as far as getting the information from them. So most of the information in there is from sources. If I can't get a direct quote, I, as a journalist, don't feel comfortable pushing this because I feel like I'm doing Daybreak's PR job. I'm a shill at that point. An unwitting one, right? Because I believe what they're telling me. But I have too many questions about what's being told to them being the truth for them to give me that I don't want to push their line for them, and I refuse to do that. Nobody would go on record. Nobody. For just one question. And it was really basic, Q. Did Jason Epstein buy Daybreak Games 3 years ago? And if so, why was it communicated that Columbus Nova? A question that anonymously many people have answered, to us and to many other people. Anonymously, Daybreak people answered that question. I wanted Jason, a PR person, somebody on record saying that. It's what's in their official statement on the forums, with no signature, labeled under the account Daybreak Games, not a community manager, not a community team, nobody identifiable. And I said, you're answering this question, I want it on the record. Answer that, and I'm comfortable sending this out there, because if it turns out to be a lie, people won't look at my article and go, Mike lied on behalf of Daybreak. They'll go, Mike was lied to by Daybreak. And my integrity just isn't worth that. I didn't push the story because they didn't give the quote. The story still sits there. Jason and I talked about it, and Jason ended up writing an article about, hey, if everything is fine at Daybreak, why doesn't anybody want to talk on the record? So we took the story from that side and ran with that story. It's bizarre, but I just felt like I wanted to tell people why I did not push a big Daybreak article that had a lot of information in it. And the way things currently stand, I do believe that currently, as of today, Jason Epstein owns Daybreak Games through his 100% owned company, Inception Acquisition, which is owned by another company, Inception Acquisition Holdings, that is 90% owned by Jason and 10% owned by Sony. Presumably, IA Holdings owns a few companies, not just Inception's Acquisition, which owns Daybreak, and that's, Sony's getting a piece of that bigger pie, not Daybreak. I believe that that is the case now. How we got there and when, I didn't feel comfortable enough to push it. When they wouldn't put somebody on the record saying exactly what they released on all their forums, put a name on it, anybody's name on it, from Daybreak Studios, and they wouldn't do it, the questions I had just, they stayed, and I couldn't do it, Troy. Was I off base? What, what are your thoughts
I
on the
don't
whole
think
issue?
so. I don't think so at all, man. It's weird when this all comes out in the wash, and it will all come out in the wash.
It will.
We will find out the truth at some point in the future. Unfortunately, that is not right now. You get the feeling that the truth, the real answer, is going to be so much weirder than all the speculation and the lies and the guessing and the bullshit.
Yeah.
Like what really happened is going to be kind of like Gazillion, man. You start hearing the rumblings of things aren't going good, and then when it all starts, when the dice start falling, you're like, oh shit, look at all the stuff that was actually happening there when the truth starts coming out. So that's not the part that scares me. Is like, man, if this is the part that's getting out and they're like, two-faced, giving two sides of the story from back then to now, and nobody's really willing to step up and say, this is how it is, this is what happened. Man, when the truth comes out, what the hell is it actually going to be?
Like, Q, I guess it got so ridiculous. Like, you couldn't sit there and go, are they trying to erase this company because of these Russian ties and because those assets are frozen and you can't sell off the company at that point? If so, what you're doing right now is highly illegal. You're changing ownership retroactively to try and dodge U.S. sanctions. If you're not doing something, if you didn't do anything wrong, to me, yeah, PR-wise, I can understand why Jason Epstein and his PR people might not want to get out there and put his name on, hey, we lied a couple of years ago. That has a bad PR connotation. I'm not faulting his PR people for saying you probably don't want to do that. But if the choice is our company is sinking under these things, all I have to do is come out and say what is true. Anyway, yeah, I bought the company. I was fine with Columbus Nova being billed as the buyer because I was very, very active in the ownership of Columbus Nova. So to me, it didn't matter. If that's all true, say it. It's a sentence. Put your name on it, and the whole thing goes away. The fact that the story kept getting bigger and bigger was one of the main reasons I had a problem with it, Q, is this could easily be killed by a sentence with a name on it. And you are opting not to. Everybody was talking anonymously. Everybody. And it's not that I don't trust them, personally. I just have a feeling maybe they aren't getting the truth. By the way, are we getting an EverQuest 3 and a PlanetSide 3, Q? Because that was the other rumor.
Oh, God. I mean, the entire thing, at this, I really think those things, the PlanetSide 3, the whatever else that anonymous source listed on Reddit was just somebody just trying to screw with them at this point.
I think so, too.
But, I mean, everything is such... And, like, sitting here listening to you talk, I'm kind of wondering, well, it is possible that, say, the company was owned, by who they originally said it was owned by 3 years ago, right? Okay, and then we saw the Russian sanctions. You kind of saw them coming.
Oh, yeah.
Like, one way or another, they were going to happen.
Right around when the Daybreak PR company or handle went in to try to edit Wikipedia and then got booted and banned for doing it.
I mean, they'd been threatened. How long have Russian sanctions been threatened now anyway? Like, there's been the whole thing of Russian sanctions were going to happen one way or another. So, yeah, they went in and edited the wiki, tried to retroactive. But, I mean, even if, they didn't actually do it after the sanctions, but it did it before as a preemptive thing to kind of stop getting caught in the sanctions, and then they just didn't want I mean, still, it just would have been easier, I think, to be like, look, this is what happened.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, Q roboted.
I thought it was me for a second. I was like, oh, crap.
No, it's not. It's Q roboted. She's frozen.
Happened. We saw this.
Oh, no, well, there she is. We got her back. All right, maybe.
No?
Yes. You're roboting. Let's slide over to the weekly bombs. We'll just move right along here.
Like it never happened.
Like it never happened. Q, if there's an extra point you want to make on that, you do it during your bomb. I'm going to give a dub bomb to rocks from space being used to change a game. Hey, it worked for Final Fantasy XIV, right? Big rock from space. Why not Fortnite, which is currently getting its map overhauled by a bunch of rocks from space? Troy, go ahead.
Dub bomb to Realm Royale Paladins. It's buggy, it's glitchy, but it's fun.
Oh
it's
my
a
God.
lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it.
You're going to slam Battle Right for doing a Royale, but then you're gonna give a dub bomb to
Not
a
Slim
Realm
Battle
Royale.
Right. I said I gotta check it out. I gotta see this for myself.
Because it was a train wreck. That's why you had to check it out.
Because it's weird.
It's weird. It's very weird.
Go ahead, Q.
Put words in my mouth. How dare you?
Well, you did it at the beginning of the show, Dick.
I did. I did.
Are we done?
Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead and give a bomb to Hi-Rez for actually getting Hi-Rez Expo so big that they had to find somewhere else to hold it. It does kind of suck that they moved it forward 2 months in the process, though.
Yeah. Elusive X Treasure says, A-Bomb kind of a week, sigh. A-Bomb to Halo 5, finally decided to get an Xbox One so I could play Halo 5. Play the series primarily to go through the story co-op with my hubby, and do couch multiplayer with family and friends. Well, screw you, Microsoft, I can't do either. Didn't even occur to me to check such a thing, since that's never happened in the history of Halo. I returned the stupid thing, games and all. Also, A-Bomb to Final Fantasy XIV's customer service. Settle down, Magic Man. It's not about the game. So, if you don't like the game, it's fine. It's fine. I tried to sub for 6 months for the hubby, and so I could get back into it, but it kept giving me 2 separate errors after several tries and a call to my bank to be doubly sure. I put in a ticket describing my issue in detail. I got back a canned response that made it clear they never read my ticket, to which I responded that the reply had nothing to do with my problem, that I was still having it. To date, this was almost a week ago, they have not replied back except to tell me to fill out a survey on my experience. Oh, believe me, I filled out that survey, told them exactly what I thought. Careful, Square, you're not the only game out there, and you wouldn't be the first to make me walk away due to terrible service. And you know what? As much as I enjoy Final Fantasy XIV, and if somebody doesn't, that's fine. I just like giving people a hard time on the show. You do you, boo. The customer service is terrible, and I'll be the first to give the A-bomb there, too. Go ahead, Q.
Hijack Sky Shadow. I will give a bomb to Halo Online. I've always wanted to play Halo on the PC, and frankly, it's awesome. This is pretty much what I expected of a Halo experience, but knowing that it's just a mod and not a fully supported game, it went above and beyond what it should have. That being said, I don't really get what happened between the team and Microsoft. Are they actually intending to make a legal game and work with the modders, or is it just another way of saying, stop that, you are not allowed to do our job on PC and do it even better than us?
All right, so the short version of that is it's the result of... It's going away, by the way, so if you enjoy it, get while the getting's good. The short version of that, it's the result of what was going to be an official game. The Microsoft team and the modding team, they were working together on that. That fell through... And later, the modding team did the Halo Online that you're talking about here, Sky Shadow. The problem with that is that when the deal fell through, they were not to have all the original assets and source code and things that they had from the original product. They weren't supposed to keep those and just revert ownership. So it's a little different when you compare it to other mods that Microsoft does allow, in that this one actually uses their own source code and stuff like that. And while you might think it's dickish, it's one of those situations where, at least I feel like after reading through all of it, Troy, Microsoft really didn't have a choice here. If you let this go, the next time somebody tries to actually infringe on your copyrights illegally, you don't have a leg to stand on when you try and defend it, because they just point to this case where you let it go.
If you ever want to defend your copyrights, you have to. Yeah,
you have to.
Even
at
times you may not want to.
Elder Scrolls and Scrolls. There's not a part of me that believes Bethesda thought that they needed to do that the name was really going to cause confusion. But you have to be protective of your IP, otherwise it sets a precedent that, hey, people are allowed to do whatever they want with your IP. So unfortunate, but yeah. Go ahead, Troy.
Blue Arion, A-bomb to Mike. Don't try to sit there and get mad about me saying F you, Final Fantasy XIV. Don't act like they're not pulling some grade A bull with their cash app and their new pay for coupon nuts. Whatever that is. That better be a translation error telling us if we up our subs by $5, we can have the privilege of paying for $2 more for a new retainer. What is happening in your game? Also lying to us about storage and about retainers not being able to interact with each other while revealing it all with a whole pay us more money mobile app. Who knows what else they're going to add to it? Dub bomb to Zach for smiling the whole time during the rant. Thank you for that comment. I enjoyed reading that immensely.
On a side note, some of the shit that they're trying to do to bilk money out of us is bullshit. I'm totally with you. I'm totally with you.
Said the words.
Yeah, I can't. As much as I like the game, I can recognize that stuff is bullshit. Eamon Goth says, I pre-ordered the Defiance Collector's Edition when it came out. I played a lot of the beta and alpha and got burnt out with the gameplay. I liked the game and even watched the TV show, but it just wasn't enough to keep me playing. My first impression of Defiance 2050... was when I launched the game and I thought it was the old Defiance game and got instantly disappointed. I thought it was going to be a new game with new story, but no, it's the exact same game. I don't have all of the swag from pre-ordering the Collector's Edition or the Arc Falls codes, so I'll probably play it when it gets launched, but I can totally see Defiance 2050 flopping. And this was a concern we brought up real early with Try-On-Q, if you remember. Like, people like us that follow this stuff closely because we love it and we happen to work in the industry too, we eventually realized, okay, this is not a new game or anything, but the general public, it's very easy to see most people falling into that. I thought this was going to be a new game. I checked it out. WTF, it's the same game.
They were so unclear about exactly what they were doing. I was just like, is it a new game? Is it a reimagining of the same game? Are they going into the future? What are they doing? Well, now we know.
Go ahead, Q.
Sideshow Geek. I feel the difference between Secret World and Defiance relaunches is, as you said, Defiance was already free. I had always wanted to play the Secret World, but wasn't confident enough to pay for it up front. Once I went free to play, I played and loved it. I tried Defiance a long time ago and found no interest. With massive changes, and it appears largely to be the same game, why would I return to Defiance? The Secret World also has a good reputation for excellent storytelling and atmosphere prior to the switch to Legends. My B overlords praise the Hive, tell me that Defiance won't be turning into honey of a game, rather more likely to feel the sting of failure. But what do I know? That's just the buzz around my end of the comb. And yes, that is a big difference. The Secret World was not free to play. It was buy to play. But I mean, Defiance launched as a buy game too. It just eventually converted to free to play. But the thing is, for those of us that already played the Secret World, going into Secret World Legends was kind of a huge pain in the ass. And since then, we've gotten 5 hours of additional content and nothing else. So...
Sideshow Geek, you earn honorary DeBomb from me for your puns.
Dude, Sideshow is the punniest dude I've ever known in my entire life, and he is hilarious.
Tell your B overlords that I love them. Go ahead, Troy.
Mint Mango, A-bomb to myself for referring to H1Z1 as Heezy.
Yeah, that's an A-bomb you fucking deserve, Mint.
That's H1Z1's rap name.
Heezy.
You deserve that one. Good call for giving it to yourself before we found out and gave it to you. Question of the week last week. What's your take on the Daybreak situation? Just seems really bizarre. Hydrex Sky Shadow says, question of the week. I have the same mindset for Daybreak since they canceled Landmark. Shut down and fuck off. I don't care under what overlord they serve. They don't deserve mercy or redemption. They screwed over too many players too many times. Oof. Go ahead, Q.
Blue Arian, my personal thoughts about Daybreak is good. Get rid of them. The only thing I know about and have experience with them is me hearing about EverQuest Next, getting into the beta of Landmark and playing with friends, then them coming along and shutting it down. I can't say I was really hyped for it or I know much about EverQuest, but it was looking like something I wanted to try, and they come along and take it out. My only response to them is tell Landmark and Next I said hi.
Oh, Troy.
Oh, what is it? K-Roulette? Is that how you say that?
Sure.
K-Roulette? On the bright side,
K-Roulette.
maybe Daybreak will have to sell the EverQuest franchise and someone might actually do something with it. Oh, we could be so lucky.
Yeah, and speaking of that, by the way, we did mention the rumors of EverQuest 3 and PlanetSide 3. They seemed sketchy at best. Jason wrote an article about that. We did ask Daybreak for comment, and I was allowed to quote them on this one, that they have no comment on rumors. However, they're always examining what their customer base wants to try. And so it was a non-answer, a non-confirm or deny.
Confirmed right now, PlanetSide Royale is on the way.
Well, that was the thing too. EverQuest 3 was a royale. If you read the original stuff, it was like
that's where you're just like.
Carlos Alejandro, Daybreak has been a joke since day one. I never expected any news from them, at least not regarding any new projects. Since the change, I assumed it was more of about buying the EverQuest franchise, going into maintenance mode with all the games, and then selling what's left at the end a couple of years down the road. And you know what, Troy? I kind of thought the same thing, because we knew for a fact from Sony that Sony Online was hemorrhaging money. It was not profitable when they sold it off, and if it was, modest profits at best. It was not in a great place financially, and I haven't seen anything happen in the last 3 years to make me think that they're doing better. They might have gotten a spurt from H1Z1 for a little while there, but even that's drastically dying out, and a lot of H1Z1 just survived people just got laid off in that round. Could they be working on an EverQuest 3 or something like that? Sure, but they got to be getting the money from somewhere, because I don't think it's coming in from their own. So I'm kind of with Carlos on this. Go ahead, Q.
By the way, from now on, I'm calling H1Z1 Heezy.
No, you're fired. You're fired.
Mortem, Daybreak is done. Yes, please cover all MMOs. There's no such thing as a free-to-play game. Somebody is paying for it.
Yeah, in the end, yep.
What is that in reference to?
Last week, somebody asked the question for us in the viewer questions why we don't cover all MMOs instead of just free-to-play. Question of the week this week, so they were replying to us answering that question. Question of the week this week, what game do you think should implement a Battle Royale?
Every game.
And what do you think it should look like? Now, Battle Royale is doing their own little take on it in a couple of interesting ways. We'll see how it pans out. But how would you do your take on it? Put your answer in the comments below. Don't forget your weekly bombs. Dub bomb for something great, A bomb for something awful in the world of gaming or just in life in general. And if you have questions for the panel, make sure you put it there too. Until next week, Troy, where can everybody find you, sir?
Twitch.tv/NoobFridge, stream on my days off. Unfortunately, that's like a midnight stream usually. So if you come by, a cup of coffee for you, I guess.
Cute.
Hanging out on Twitter at Quintley. By the way, Neopets Battle Royale. Just saying.
Oh, God. I'm Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man. You can follow me personally on Twitter right there at MagicMan1. But more importantly, while you're there, follow at MMOBomb so that you get all of the latest news on what company owns what company. I don't know, just saying things like that could happen. Giveaways, first looks, free-to-play casts, interviews, and more. Until next week, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.